That suggests to community leaders and perhaps governors, because I mean, even if they say it's on paper, they're the chief security officers of their state, that who they're dealing with could actually be from within.
Precisely.
What do they need to do, the governors now, or everyone? Or
well, we need a massive public education. People need to be taught how to assess threat, not just looking out for a Malam or a Northerner. You need to look out for unusual behavior, because when people are sent to do this thing, they are human beings. You know, there are giveaway habits. You know, there are sometimes you see people sweating or shivering in circumstances where they should be normal. That's when to pull those people out, not looking as if I'm wearing a kaftan or a hat or wearing beards or all that. And then people, when they see things on the streets or on the road, you know, they're like, it could be a cell phone bag that is tied and put somewhere. Rather than going to pick it up, people need to alert security agents and generally be security.
That's tricky. Look at that one that we saw in Jos. It was in King's vegetable oil tin.
Turkey.
And
It's
turkey,
turkey,
right?
yes, turkey vegetable
And
oil.
clock. Come on. Someone sees that and says, this is my day. God
he's
has
hungry.
blessed me.
Yeah.
He took it home. And that could have exploded. So the poverty level is a major factor. So that's another type of challenge all by itself.
I mean, if you're looking for challenges, the environment, I mean, the litter on the streets and everything, I mean, which one can you pick out? But then that doesn't discourage public education. You can only do so much. But when you are dealing with a predetermined, premeditated criminal suspect.
Should we be talking, should we be talking to the chiefs, the local chiefs, to also carry out some of this sensitization? Recall the report we just watched now, the lady speaking in Hausa language there, she just moved in 40 days ago, so that they can know what to look out for when they see people going in and out of
for me,
like
if I'm actually somebody who is looking at that, the fact that she moved in 40 days ago will raise my security antenna. Where did she move in from? You know, and why did she move to this area at that part? Not in a harassment, just gauge her in a conversation. I mean, because also when you are educating communities, while you are looking at their consciousness about a stranger, I mean, who has moved into this neighborhood in the last couple of months, that will change the security scenario. You want to know that. You know, so the saying is that you cannot overdose on public education as far as security is concerned.
But there can be a thin line that could block it out, and that could be the attitude. Because if they come at the people with the wrong attitude, I mean, they interpret it in different ways. They could just block off.
Yeah.
Say, well, you could say all you want, but I'm not going to listen.
Sure.
So that's why we talked about the attitude of not just all of us, but security folks.
Yeah,
also.
talking about security folks, let me just quickly add this to that. Are you suspicious of the speed at which we seem to be getting revelations in recent times, especially immediately after the UN bombing? The fact that, you know, we got 2 suspects whom they say they had in their custody, we got a name, and then now we're getting to discover this, and, you know, even the NSA is addressing the press and speaking to Nigerians, you know. Do you hold any, you know,
you see,
fears
the
in your
UN
heart?
bombing is a game changer, both for security agencies and indeed the people behind this. Everybody in Nigeria, especially within the security establishment, knows that they are also on the watch list of international agencies that are involved in this. Those who are harboring these criminals also know that they are now dealing with the international security establishment. So the sooner everybody cooperated to nip this whole thing and arrest it, the better it is, because if you allow it to fester, sooner than later, the whole architecture, those behind it, are going to be revealed. So I am not surprised. When they struck the UN, they have opened a can of worms for themselves.
So you think that strike was necessary? Because we had the Abuja bomb blast, the one that happened in the police force headquarters, and all we heard was a statement, or was a terrorist bomber, or it wasn't a terrorist bomber, and then, you know, the case just died. We didn't hear much of it after that, apart from the 1 or 2 bombers you hear up north, you know, someone just throwing something somewhere. But this, was it necessary for this to happen? Because for the NSA to actually come out and say we were unprepared for terrorism, does it not smack of negligence?
Well, we shouldn't have waited for that to happen. But you should also know that prior to that happening, we thought we're dealing with a domestic group that were domestically focused. Even the UN security chief that addressed the press after the incident said in terms of threat assessment of the Nigerian situation, they were looking at it at low to moderate. But with the targeting of the UN, Nigeria perhaps has reached the orange, level now, which means a red alert situation. And that also calls for increase in resourcing in doing this, increase in networking. The global establishment on dealing with this issue also putting Nigeria on the map. And that has brought, just like HIV, it has brought the global resources to focus on it, which might explain why we are seeing this. But we should also not underestimate the fact that prior to now, people have looked at it from political dimension. Let's get government to dialogue with this and perhaps extend the same strategy they used in the Niger Delta, which will help us in bargaining in 2015. But with the UN bombing, they are now seeing a separation.
Very quickly, what should the government be doing now that we're getting to see some kind of progress so far from the security operatives?
What I think government should be doing right now is not see this matter essentially of focusing especially on the security angle. We need a political solution that will incorporate security response, incorporate addressing the underlying factors, and basically getting everybody involved. We need a strategy that will involve critical stakeholders, including you, the media. I must commend channels for what you have done over this. But we also need the academic community. Nobody is speaking from that community. There should be somebody in the Northeast or indeed in other universities that have been studying this group for a while that can provide perspective to it.
The benefits of their research.
Precisely, because we are dealing with a group that have been around for a while. Somebody should have done some studies on it that we need to, mainstream right now that will help us in understanding this group and responding to them appropriately.